Alright there, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we got another video on Old Red, our Project 1983 Peterbilt 359. Taking a look outside here today. Say it's a good day to be working in the shop. Probably had, I don't know, 3-4 inches here snow in the last couple of hours, so we're gonna work in the shop here today. Kind of glad I went ahead and pulled this in last night when I got back, rather than trying to pull it in this morning and have water dripping everywhere. But anyway, first thing we got to do here is, it looks like we got a wheel seal that's starting to leak a little bit. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that in there, but it's not so bad that there's not any oil shooting out on the tire yet, but the brake shoes definitely look oily. We're also due to rotate these tires. And these tires could use to be, or these rims, however, could use to be repolished. So that's going to be the plan here. Is we're going to start with this one because it looks like we got a wheel seal to do. And I'd say all these brakes on the back here are probably about 30%. So while we got the tires all off, rotating the tires and repolishing the wheels, probably going to go ahead and throw some new shoes on here. And so yeah, that's the plan here for a snowy day today. Let's get after it. Yummy! Even more yummy. Okay, so wheel seal is most definitely, without a doubt, leaking. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the rest of these axle flange nuts off, get this axle shaft out, start working on getting this hub off. Okay, so now with the axle shaft out, we're going to have to bend this locking tab down, take this lock nut off, and we'll be able to take the lock ring behind that off, take the inner nut off, and then we should be able to pull this whole hub and bearings out. So it actually still looks pretty nice and clean. I get people all the time that ask me what size these nuts are. I got no idea. You can't read the size on any of these sockets. I just grab the one that looks right, and if it's not right, like this one's not right, I just go grab the next size. That lock nut was loose. That's probably why that wheel seal's leaking. That's interesting. This has got a bearing spacer ring in there. I haven't seen that on drive axle before. I generally keep wheel seals and bearings and brake shoes and all that stuff kind of in stock here at the shop. However, I haven't had to do any of that on these rear ends yet, so I got to figure out part numbers and all that kind of stuff. I was kind of hoping it would all be the same as my Mac. The Mac has Dana Spicer 40s in the back, and these are 41s. I was kind of hoping all that stuff would be the same, but it doesn't really look like it here, so I'm going to have to get all this stuff off, get it cleaned up, get part numbers, parts. Yay! The wheel seal does look like it might be the same, but like I said, I got to take that speedy sleeve off so I can check it. And I got to pop these shoes off, get them cleaned up, see if there's a part number on them, so I can just run to Napa and get some. Oh, I hate wheel seals. It's such a mess. Oh. Okay, so we got everything cleaned up here. We got new shoes. We got bearings cleaned up. They look to be in absolutely perfect condition. They are, looks like Hyatt brand, made in China. Never even heard of those. I normally go with either a Temkin or SKF bearing when I replace bearings, but these look to be in perfect condition, so we're going to reuse them. Got a new wheel seal. I do like this style wheel seal. It's a two-piece seal. It's got a rubber coating on both sides here, and the seal actually rides on itself on the inside here. So these don't care if this seal surface right here is not great, which it's not on these ones. You would either have to use a speedy sleeve like what was on here, or this style of bearing to get that to seal. But this is a Meritor seal. Looks like 0273. I've had pretty good luck with these. They're not real picky on installation, just take something flat, drive them in. So let's get that in. You want to make sure you drop your bearing in first. Reset this on here, get it square. Normally I'll use a flat piece of steel, but in this case we're just drop a piece of wood on there. So with that just drove in there flush like that, you can see how the inside part of this seal spins on the outer part. The outer part's obviously pressed in here, and then this part presses onto the axle, and then the bearing, or the seal rather, spins on itself. Okay, now with the seal installed, I'm just going to take a little bit of gear lube, get a little bit of oil on that bearing. And go ahead and get a little bit of oil on our outer bearing. Now with this style seal, it's kind of a press fit on the inside as well as the outside. So you kind of got to draw it home with the nut here. And it's a little tighter feeling than a standard wheel seal. So I think that gets some people in trouble, is they set them up too loose because it feels too tight when you spin the hub. And it's really just because that seal is kind of stiff. It takes it a couple miles for those seals to kind of break in. They're a little bit stiffer than the standard seal. Okay, and then we're going to have to back this off just maybe a 32nd of an inch in order to get the locking ring to lock on there. Too far. There we go. Okay, so you can see that pin is in that hole right there. That's what you want. Then this guy goes on there like so. And then we install the lock nut. Then we want this lock nut on here good and tight. We don't want this thing just basically finger tight like it was before. I think torque spec on this is something like 250 foot-pounds. Just like so, and then that ensures that this locking nut cannot back off. Alright, so this old gasket's still in fine shape. We're going to reuse it. A lot of times on these, I don't even use a gasket, I just RTV it. But we're just going to put a little light skim, some RTV on here, just to make sure it seals up good, being that we're reusing the gasket. Then we can go ahead and just shove the axle shaft in here. Okay, now on these ones where the stud came out, I'm just going to put a generous helping of Loctite on those. So hopefully next time the nut will come out and the stud will stay in like it's supposed to. It's not really a big deal, but that housing's aluminum, so after so many times of running that stud in and out, those threads will wear out. Now, because we've got this nice handy port here, we're going to go ahead and take that Allen screw out. We're going to go ahead and dump some gear oil in here. Make sure that those bearings get plenty of oil. Now, this bearing cavity does get fed through the axle shaft, and oil gets circulated through here as you're driving down the road, but making sure you got plenty of oil in here for your first couple miles till that oil makes it out there is always a nice thing. Not all hubs even have this. You just kind of put as much oil as you can in that little well in the center and put it together, and it's normally just fine. Now, there is no indication when this is actually full, because as it fills up, it'll just, once it's full, it's just going to run into the axle housing and run into the center diff. So if you get about a quart in here, that pretty much guarantees that that's going to be full in there. And obviously we want to check the rear end fluid level when we're all done here. Okay, so we went ahead and slapped a new set of shoes on there. Brake drums cleaned up, they look fine. There's very minimal wear on them, no defects that matter, so these drums are good to reuse for another set of shoes. Seems like I always get a little bit of flack in the comments anytime I reuse a brake drum on a new set of shoes, but really, you can typically get, oh, get on there. You can typically get 2 sets of, what's going on here? But really, you can typically get, what the hell, why is this going on? Now it seems like I always get a little bit of flack anytime I reuse a drum on a new set of shoes, but really, typically you can get about 2 sets of shoes to a brake drum. I typically do drums every other time I do shoes, and these drums are fine, so we're going to reuse them. So that's all back together with the new wheel seal. We're going to take that corner apart next, because those tires are going to rotate to this. When you rotate your drag tires, you take your right rear to your left front and your right front to your left rear. That maximizes your tire life. This corner wears the fastest, followed by this corner, followed by this corner, and then those ones wear the slowest. So you move your slowest wearing tires to your fastest wearing position, and that evens out the tread wear. But anyway, you guys might hear the Bobcat outside warming up. I'm gonna go move a little bit of snow, and then we'll come back. I don't know if I'll probably take these off first. Go ahead and slap new shoes on there. I mean, the shoes are 30% or better, but if I'm gonna have all the wheels and tires off, I might as well put shoes on. So we'll get those ones off, get new shoes on, then we'll start getting our outside wheels polished, and then get them rotated, and then we'll do these 2 after that. Alright, so we're on the last drive axle corner here, and I don't know how well you guys can tell on camera here. Most of this is just brake dust, but there is just a tiny bit of dampness around this seal. So I suppose while we're here and we got everything torn apart, let's go ahead and throw an axle seal on this one too. Alright, so we got everything cleaned up, new wheel seal installed. This one's got the same made in China Hyatt brand bearings. Can't imagine that these are OEM. So I'm guessing whoever did this one as well, and that's why they were both loose. So anyway, let's just get this slapped back together and get done.